Hello, I'm Brian Fox. Welcome to I Hate Rock Music. And this video is going to be about a band that's pretty legendary and pretty notorious now, the Lollipop Shop. And they originally started as the Weeds in 1966, although Fred Cole actually had music out as early as 1964. And he writes most of the songs for the Lollipop Shop. And then, of course, he's famous for going on to Dead Moon and the Rats. And so Lollipop Shop came out of Las Vegas, Nevada in 1966, and they finally got around to recording this album in 1968, Just Color. And they were going to continue to be called the Weeds, but their manager decided they were going to cash in on bubblegum and call themselves the Lollipop Shop. And there's nothing bubblegum about them. And the cover's okay. They deserved a lot better cover because they tried to sell them as the Lollipop Shop, and they were more of a trashy garage band, so they could have done a lot better with the cover. But the band was Fred Cole on vocals, and Eddie Ballard on guitar, Ron Bazell on guitar, Bob Atkins on bass, and Tim Roxon on drums. So another one of those great two guitar bands that I love so much. They put out one single called It's Your Time and Little Girl, and that was under the moniker The Weeds on the Teen Beat Club label. And so they ended up leaving Las Vegas and going to San Francisco because they were promised a gig at the Fillmore. And they decided to go to Canada because the Fillmore gig fell through, and apparently they only had enough money to make it to Portland, Oregon. So they ended up staying there and building up a local following. And Fred Cole stayed there for a long time because that's where Dead Moon and the Rats, both Fred Cole bands, came out of Portland. And I was very fortunate enough to see Dead Moon and the Rats quite a few times up here in Seattle back in the 90s, the 80s and 90s. And they played up here a huge amount of times, so I got to see them a ton of times. So anyway, they got to Portland. They built up a local following, and then they signed to Uni Records. And Uni Records, of course, had a lot of really cool second and third tier bands, including Fields. And so a decent label, at least for collectors. Bands like The Hook and Fields didn't really sell that many records back then, but for us collectors, a lot of that stuff on Uni is just pure gold. So 1968, the album Just Color came out. 245's You Must Be a Witch, which is the first song on the album, and Don't Close the Door. And Tomorrow I Knew and Through My Window was the second single. And they broke up in 1969, so they didn't last very long. So normally I'd go through the songs and analyze each one, but I think it's easier just to say it's a really killer record. Most of the songs are about 2.5 minutes long and about 3 chords, and they're really just a great trashy garage band. Some of the rhythm section work is actually a little bit sloppy, and the guitar work is a little rough sometimes. But on a record like this, it really adds to the enjoyment of it. It really makes the band that much better in this case. I remember reading an article one time that said the fact that we've eliminated all mistakes from rock and roll records kind of has made rock and roll die. So a record like this that has lots of rough edges and is a little sloppy at times really makes the record. But I don't want to emphasize that too much because they got a lot of drive, a lot of energy. There's a lot of attitude, and of course Fred Cole's vocals are just wonderful and really singular and completely recognizable for us fans of Fred Cole and his later work with Dead Moon and the Rats. And they got together one more time in 1971 and put out a single called Stop No Good News and as the Weeds, so they went back to their original name. But the album, I'm just going to read off the song titles because they're great song titles. You Must Be a Witch is, of course, a classic now, but Underground Railroad, which is the longest song, 7 minutes and 45 seconds, pretty psychedelic guitar. The vocals are killer, and it starts out kind of slow and then gets really fast. But going from there, Baby Don't Go, killer song. Who'll Read the Will, another great garage rocker, the great solo. It's Only a Reflection, kind of a rock ballad. Don't Look Back, another great song. Don't Close the Door on Me, a little slower, but powers up at the end. Another great song. It Ain't How Long, another great song. It's Making It, another garage rocker. I'm Gonna Be There, a garage ballad. You Don't Give Me No More, totally fast rocker with great fuzz guitar. And then the last song is another kind of garage band ballad start, and then it gets really psychedelic called Sin. So you get a lot of songs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. A lot of songs, as I mentioned, they're generally about 2.5 minutes, and it's pretty over the top, and it's kind of interesting for a band that put out this record in 1968 to still have this real garage sound and kind of a precursor to punk in some ways, particularly because of the connection with Fred Cole, and the sound from Lollipop Shop to Dead Moon is um, along the same lines, although obviously the Lollipop band has a full lineup with two guitars, and Dead Moon and the Rats were both trios featuring Fred Cole's guitar work. On Lollipop Shop, he's just the singer, but for '68, there's some psychedelic elements, but it's a real punky garage band sound. So, real nice treat for 1968. So there you have it, Lollipop Shop. Once again, most collectors know about this record already, and many people treasure this. But if you haven't heard it and you really like that garage sound, you want something that's a little more thumping than the Music Machine and bands like that, then check out Lollipop Shop, another gem on Uni Records. I'm Brian Fox. Thanks for watching I Hate Rock Music.